Be making basics.
What's going on, YouTube? Be Making Basics back again with another dope video. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe because we're going back to back with bangers. So in today's video, actually, I'm going to be going over some advanced mixing tips in Logic Pro 11. And before we get into that, man, make sure you head over to my website, beatmakingbasics.com. We got exclusive content on there, man. Banging courses on how to make beats in GarageBand and Logic Pro. We got exclusive loop packs and drum kits, meaning that you're not going to find these on Splice or anywhere else. These are original sounds and loops, bro. So get the sauce before everybody else does. And we also have mixing templates on the site. So make sure you go to beatmakingbasics.com. But without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So I got this beat that we've been making here. I'm just going to go over some advanced mixing tips. I'm gonna let you hear a little bit of the beat and then we'll go over some mixing tips. Alright, y'all, so first tip I'm going to tell you about is actually, if you click on this mixing window, you want to make sure that a lot of your tracks, more than not, are going to be in mono instead of stereo. Okay, like for instance, this 808, if you want to really hyper control the sound, having these tracks in like mono is going to help out a whole lot more. Mainly your drums are going to be in mono, and then like a lot of times your melody can be in stereo. So just to do that, all you got to do is go to the input, especially once it's, you know, audio files. Just go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take this little button next to input. It's going to take this to mono instead of stereo. Okay. It should say cloud. And this is going to help control your mix a whole lot. You feel me? Just having stuff in mono instead of stereo. Okay, so that's the first tip I want to just drop down for you. Also, if you haven't already, make sure that you export your files as audio. So that's how you do it, is push Command Shift and the letter E, and you know what I'm saying, just make sure it's WAV files, 24-bit. Turn this off, and you can include these, put it into a new folder like on your desktop or whatever, and then bounce this down or export this as audio files, then drag it back into a new session. In this particular session is already audio, but so we don't have to do that. But yeah, man, that's gonna be your first thing here. And the next thing is, again, the audio, putting it in mono. Now what I'm going to do is literally take everything and put it down to nominal gain, or put it down to the very beginning, you know, the lowest level. And we'll just start. I like to mix off of my drums first and then bring in the melody. So we'll go like with our kick, make sure that's like the highest sounding sound. And I'll just put this like over the hook. With Logic, sometimes it does come into like hot or whatever, so like I like to kind of make sure I bring it down and leave some headroom here. And since this is the track that we're starting off with the kick, you know what I'm saying, you kind of want to still just keep that headroom there. And when I say about headroom, is like you want to have it anywhere from like 5 or 6 dB, negative 6 dB, the overall level. So I'll start with the kick, bring in the snare. And then after I bring everything in as far as the drums, and kind of tucking everything under this kick, then I start working with the melody. And basically you want to listen to it and tuck that melody right under the drums, okay? Bet. So after we have everything a basic level, now I'm gonna bring this 808 in. When I first started mixing, I would bring this 808 like super high. It'd be the highest thing in the track. But what happens when you do that is especially when you're playing it on big speakers, it's gonna drown out the rest of your mix. So what I like to do is kind of tuck that 808 under everything for the most part, and the sub is gonna take it up a notch once you play it in the big speakers. All right, cool. So now that we got that, the overall levels, you want to start working on like panning. Panning is gonna start to create some space in your mix. And then too, like some more advanced tips on this is to further control the mix. You want to go ahead and group this into groups. Okay, so like this, a simple way to do this would be to like take the drums, go to your output, and you could do it to the groups, but I like to do it like this: go to the output and just take that whole signal and bust it to an auxiliary track. Same thing with the melody. And what this is gonna do is give you more control over everything. Once I got my levels right, I don't have to keep on touching the individual tracks. Turn that down some. And that gives you more control over your mix just doing that, you know what I'm saying? Also allowed me to further tuck this melody under the actual drums because I want the drums to stand out the most in the mix. Next thing I'm going to talk about is subtractive EQ, and pretty much what we'll do on that is take out some of the lows on like this melody track. So it's going to make sure that like the 808 and the kick shine through in the mix by doing this. So just go over here to the EQ and just take out the lows here. Now, what we can do instead of just going on each individual track is literally just come over here to this whole like auxiliary track or this bus and do it there, especially if all the sounds kind of sound similar on the melody. And let me just show you something on this 808. If you look at the 808, pay attention to where most of the frequencies are coming through. A lot of the frequency is right over here from 20 hertz to like 100 hertz. And if you look right here, I'm pretty much taking that out of the mix on the melody. So that makes the beat shine through a whole lot easier just by doing that. And again, you could come over here and put it on each individual track, or you can just really single it out on your group. You know what I'm saying? Just helps control the sound. You also want to consider doing it on some of these other instruments too. You don't necessarily have to do it on every single instrument, but it does help to clean up the mix. So maybe everything except for the kick and the drum. And a good rule of thumb here is really don't take out too much more than about 200 on this, because it's going to start sounding thin if you do. Some more advanced type of things here would be, instead of putting them, a reverb on the track on each individual melody, you can just put it right here on this group. And I already did this in some other videos, but you want to add like drops and stuff like that. So like you can come over here and like highlight everything, push Command T to chop it, push Control M to mute it. So that part can also be done in a mix. Push T opens up the fade tool. You can put like a little, you know what I'm saying, slow down effect. Another trick too is like, instead of putting this reverb on everything, you can actually, use your sends to do that instead. Like you can put it on certain stuff here. So like I can come over here to my melody and go to my sends, go to an available bus. And now I can put this reverb here, turn that back up, and then now I can control the reverb signal a whole lot better on the mix. So say I would just want it going on this part on the hook, I can come over here, highlight this, and then turning up the reverb through the sends instead of putting it directly on a track, and it's going to control the melody and the sound better. Another tip here is actually on this aux track here. If you want to like make the beat louder, you can come in here to your dynamics and put this adaptive limiter on here. Control the ceiling, you know what I'm saying, negative 0.1 dB. That little tip right there can make your, drums and everything hit harder. But so for the most part, y'all, that's going to be the mix. And appreciate y'all watching. Some other tips would be to actually listen at different levels. I would highly recommend listening to the beat at a very low level, meaning go into, whether you're mixing on your headphones, mix it like at lower levels first. And then also whether you're mixing like on your monitors, mix it at lower levels. You can kind of hear what's too loud and what's too soft, and it mix better that way. Also, you want to use things called reference tracks. Basically go and find like a song or a beat that's already mixed professionally, either on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, and you want to just A/B it. So basically you'll listen to it and have it over on Spotify, push play, listen to where they're pushing their hi-hats, listen to how loud they have certain stuff, how soft certain things are in the mix, different things like that. And then you want to be able to just kind of look at your beat or listen to your beat and see, hey, does this sound a lot, closer to what this professionally mixed song sounds like. You want to train your ears, go online and listen to those professional songs and take notes. Okay, I'm noticing that in this trap beats, most of those hi-hats are panned, maybe 25%, or maybe panned hard left, hard right. Pay attention to those little tips. That will train your ears and also give you insight on, how to mix your beats better. And anything else you want to learn as far as mixing your beats, I would highly recommend going ahead and going to my website, beatmakingbasics.com. Okay, we have a full mixing course on there, and then also several other courses where mixing is highlighted heavily. Okay, if you want to learn how to mix your music and mix your beats, get these courses, man. I started off as a beginner like you, and mixing used to actually not be a strong point. Now, this is something that I'm easily able to do quickly. It didn't always start off that way. I didn't have the, tools and understanding of how to use certain things. And if you notice on this mix, I really didn't even use a whole lot of compression or anything like that. When I first started off, I didn't know that, you didn't have to put a compressor on everything. I didn't know that you can use a leveling, which is getting the proper levels to make your beat sound right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that, sometimes you only have to put like reverb on certain instruments, not on everything. I didn't know certain things. So these are tips that you don't want to overlook. I didn't even know, like, hey, if you put most of your stuff in mono, you can control the sound and control the signal path a whole lot easier that way. And only putting, your melodies in stereo, and certain instruments in stereo. I didn't know these things. So my mixes would suck. And I didn't know about reference tracks. I didn't know about listening to the music, very soft levels. So I cover all those things in my courses in more detail. This is just one video. You feel me? We have a lot of videos on the channel, but when you go to the courses, everything is highly concentrated. And when you're investing in yourself, it's gonna allow you to get better because you're getting everything in a concentrated way that allows you to learn at your own pace and grow as a producer quicker. So go to beatmakingbasics.com and get subscribed to the channel. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. We're out.